I just feel like I'm very good with people, very good with managing large organizations, and I look at the county as a very large business, and I have an uninhibited voice. I'm not a lobbyist, I'm not a contractor. My money does not come from any county organization or from any organization connected to the county, and I think I'm free to work on behalf of the people.
I know we asked in our questionnaire about your thoughts on the constitutional officers, and I'm reading your stuff saying that you think they should be appointed rather than...
I do.
But the reality is that they're elected and they oversee their own budgets, even though the county collects the money basically for the budgets. We've been asking all the candidates if it is now time for them to have their own millage and let them, just give them the money so that the voters and the taxpayers know that it's the sheriff who has who's come to you and asking for more millage or less millage, rather than going through the annual review that the county commission does for all the budgets and the back and forth between why you need an increase versus blah, 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 blah.
My feeling on that is that the county commission serves as a safety net to keep the millage rate from getting out of control. And I just don't feel like any one department should have that authority to just go ahead and raise the millage on their own. We're going through some very difficult budget times right now, and everybody has to cut back. And we all have to think of ways to do that. In Miramar, all three of our unions worked with us. They saw the shortfall. They said, we don't want layoffs. We want to ensure that all of our employees keep their jobs and their benefits. And so they were willing to take pay freezes, take 3 to 5% one-time bonuses, not to base, so that they could keep the unfunded liability down. And they were willing to compromise. I mean, all the new police officers that are being hired are not coming in with that 3 to 6% COLA. They're down at 2%. And so we've managed to negotiate a very good compromise. And I just don't feel like if you give somebody all that control and the county commission's not there as a safety net, I just feel like it may get out of control.
I hear you, but let me push the argument. Unlike Miramar, as a county commissioner, you don't have direct control over the sheriff's, the unions and the sheriff's office who will say, I don't care what the commissioner says. Our contract is with the sheriff.
Well, they have a budget that they have to stick to, and the county commission has to agree to that budget and agree to how much money is given to them. And right now at this point, instead of having a decrease, we're going back and forth about increases in pensions and increases in pay. And so I do believe that the county commission has a certain level of control over that, and I believe that they advocate, they have to advocate on behalf of the residents. I mean, people are really, really struggling now, and I would feel like I wasn't really doing my job as an elected official if I approve something like that. I'd have to really take a very, very good look at that.
At this point in the campaign, how much money have you raised and how much have you budgeted during the primary?
I budgeted $150,000 to win. I put in $100,000 of my own money. I've raised somewhere around $12,000 because I just started having fundraisers. Because of the short period of time that I had to establish my campaign, I was more focused on laying the groundwork and the foundation for my campaign versus trying to raise money, because you can raise all the money in the world, but if you can't get the voters to the poll, you're going to lose. And so I was more concerned with reaching out to the community. And I think fundraising right now is going to be a tough thing. I don't think it's going to be any easier this year because of all the economic problems, and large corporations who normally give are having trouble too. So I've always been more of a self-funded candidate. I'm not great with asking for things because I'm not used to that. And like I said, I put $100,000 in, and I laid the foundation for my campaign. I've planned my campaign out till November the 2nd. I'm confident that I'll come out on top. I have the support of the PBA SEIU, and I just got the AFL-CIO endorsement today. So I feel like I'm on a roll. My campaign has momentum, and I'm the best candidate for the job, and I'm going to take it to the end.
Let me ask a question. Answer number 3 is, the county should look at closing or reducing hours at some libraries as well as cutting some other non-essential services. So speak on behalf of the letter writers who complained about this. So I call you up to complain that you close a library on Saturday.
And I'm going to say to you this. We are in very difficult economic times. You have to give up something to get something. We're trying not to we're trying for minimal sacrifices in the quality of life. But the reality of it is that if we start laying off county employees, we're going to contribute to the foreclosure crisis that we have in Broward County, because most Broward County employees live in Broward County. We need to keep people employed. And so keeping those people employed does take precedence over some of those items like extra libraries and extra library hours and some of the extra community niceties that we have. I mean, these are things that you do when you have an overabundance. Those are things that you have to tighten up on. And it's not to say that we're closing every library, but I do believe that you have to look at everything and you have to take everything into consideration.
What about pensions?
Like I said before, what we did to stop the unfunded and the funded liability in terms of going to the base of our pensions was to negotiate with our unions a very fair exchange for pay increases. We did one-time bonuses, not to base. I believe that people work all their lives, they deserve a pension, but right now we can't afford to contribute to making them higher. So.
What about bringing in new employees on like a 401k system or something like that?
Well, what we did is we changed our system. We did do 401k in Miramar, but we also changed what their annual increases could be, the maximum, and also their COLAs. So we did what we had to do to modify it without making them lose all of their benefits. They still have a nice pension package, and they still have great benefits, health, dental, and vision insurance, well care insurance. I mean, we've done what we had to do to maintain the quality of life for our employees while not sacrificing, on the city level and contributing to our deficit again.
We may not be at that point, but you seem to emphasize the importance of trying to keep as many employees employed as possible. Does that ever get to a point where you may have to raise taxes in order to keep those employees employed, or a minimum level of employees employed?
And that's why I said we need to get aggressive with creating new revenue streams. We need to figure out how we can increase ridership on our tri-rail. We need to figure out how we can regionalize our transportation system. Maybe save people, save on gas on the roads. Maybe help people to keep a little extra money in their pocket by utilizing our public transportation system. Maybe bring more conventions in. Maybe bring more national and international events here. We need to do something to start creating more revenue in Broward County other than ad valorem taxes and increasing, sales tax. Everybody always brings that up. So I just feel like, we're going to have to get tough and make some tough decisions. Now, the voters are not going to like everything that you come up with, but you never can please 100% of the people 100% of the time. And as a public servant, I know that. The
current commission voted to issue these bonds to build a new courthouse. Are you in agreement with that?
I was just going to ask. To issue bonds to build a new courthouse. Well, I think that that's probably one of those projects that could have been placed on hold, and maybe 5 years later we could have considered it. I'm not sure of what state the courthouse is actually in and why they were pushing for that, because I wasn't involved in terms of having those meetings to do that. So I would probably be at a disadvantage to say that I know everything there is to know about that. But we needed a new police station. We needed to stop leasing our police station and rebuild and rehab our old one. But the reality of it is we have to wait 5 years.